The music echoed, the lights blazed, and the audience roared. Everything seemed like another glorious night in an Elvis Presley concert. But then, the unexpected happened. In the midst of the soaring atmosphere, a drunken fan stepped forward, his face filled with challenge, moving closer to the stage. Tens of thousands instantly fell silent, the energy of the arena shifting in a heartbeat. All eyes were on Elvis, the man hailed as the king of rock and roll. Would he lose his temper, back away, or respond in a way no one could predict? The moment grew so tense that the beating hearts of the audience seemed to march in unison with the steps of the man confronting the legend. And then, Elvis chose a response that left more than 20,000 people stunned, a moment still remembered today as one of the most unforgettable scenes in music history. Elvis Presley, born in 1935 in Tupelo, Mississippi, is known worldwide as the king of rock and roll. He grew up in a poor family, but his passion for music began early as he sang in church. In 1954, Elvis recorded his first track at Sun Records, and just a year later, Heartbreak Hotel was released, topping the Billboard chart. From there, his career skyrocketed. Elvis not only brought energetic rock songs, but also touched millions of hearts with emotional ballads like Can't Help Falling in Love. He was also a master performer, with hip-shaking moves, dynamic stage presence, and charisma that captivated audiences around the world. His career peak came in 1973 with Aloha from Hawaii, the first concert in history broadcast live via satellite, reaching more than 1 billion viewers worldwide. Throughout his career, he sold over 500 million records, making him one of the best-selling artists of all time. Though he passed away in 1977, Elvis Presley lives on in the hearts of fans, an enduring symbol of creativity, the power of music, and timeless spirit. At the height of his career, Elvis Presley was not only the most famous singer in America but a global phenomenon. In the late 1950s, whenever he appeared, fans crowded the streets, lined up for hours just to buy tickets, and screamed with overwhelming excitement. By the 1970s, his Las Vegas residencies were always sold out, with packed theaters, and people said that wherever Elvis went instantly became the center of the entertainment world. His performances were more than music. They were cultural events where songs, fashion, stage presence, and his legendary charisma blended into an irresistible force. Fans came to hear his voice, but more importantly, to witness a living legend whose magnetism reached beyond the stage. The atmosphere was so intense that many female fans fainted from excitement, some wept uncontrollably just from seeing Elvis for a few seconds. The press of the time called it Presley fever, a wave never before seen in popular music. One of the clearest proofs of his unmatched influence was the 1973 Aloha from Hawaii concert. It was the first concert ever broadcast live via satellite, reaching more than 40 countries and over 1 billion viewers. Elvis, dressed in a sparkling white jumpsuit, radiating confidence and singing with power, became the defining image of an era. Those present described it as a storm of emotions, with the audience swept away by both the music and Elvis's presence. Wherever he performed, the screams of the crowd often drowned out the band, and security had to escort him off the stage through seas of fans. This was proof that Elvis did not just perform, he lived inside the hearts of his audience. At his peak, Elvis Presley transcended the title of entertainer, becoming a part of cultural history, a legend whose magnetism still remains intact today. At the Las Vegas Hilton in 1974, nearly 20,000 fans filled the hall with deafening cheers for Elvis Presley. Music thundered, lights blazed, and every eye was on him. But suddenly, a drunken audience member stood up, shouting and challenging Elvis right in front of tens of thousands. The electrifying atmosphere instantly shifted, stunned silence spreading across the crowd. Security rushed forward, ready to escort the man out. Yet Elvis raised his hand, signaling them to stop. He calmly walked toward the edge of the stage, choosing to face the man himself. The entire hall held its breath, thousands falling into silence, waiting to see how he would respond. No one expected Elvis to confront the situation directly, instead of letting others handle it. In that tense moment, it became clear, this was more than a concert, it was a glimpse into the true strength of the king of rock and roll. Elvis Presley walked slowly toward the staggering man under the dazzling stage lights. Nearly 20,000 pairs of eyes were locked on him, the air thick with suspense. Many thought he would lose his temper or call security to escort the intruder out. Yet Elvis chose something entirely different. He bent slightly forward, gently resting his warm hand on the man's shoulder. A tender smile appeared on his face, as if to reassure not just the man before him, but the entire tense audience. The unexpected gesture froze the hall for another heartbeat. Then, in his deep, rich voice laced with humor, Elvis said, "Would you like to sing a song with me? Or are you trying to take over the whole show?" The clever remark rang out through the microphone, instantly sending the massive crowd into waves of laughter. Applause thundered, cheers rose, and the hall erupted in joy. The drunken man paused, his defiance dissolving into an awkward grin, nodding sheepishly like a child caught in mischief. Elvis patted his shoulder once more, closing the scene with grace. In just a few seconds, what could have been a disruption turned into a shining moment of charm and composure. That night, everyone present at the Las Vegas Hilton walked away with a story to tell for years to come. Elvis Presley didn't just sing with his voice, he sang with the way he lived and carried himself on stage. Laughter rippled through the hall, rising into thunderous applause that echoed beneath the glowing dome of the Las Vegas Hilton. The drunken spectator, who only minutes earlier had shouted challenges, was now gently escorted out by security. There was no chaos, no struggle, because Elvis Presley's calm grace had already diffused the tension. Strangely, the crowd no longer saw the man as a troublemaker, but remembered only the way Elvis turned an awkward interruption into a moment of humanity. As the noise faded, Elvis stepped back, adjusted the microphone, and launched into his next song. His rich, powerful voice filled the hall once more, as if the disruption had never happened. The audience erupted again, not only for the music, but for the strength and poise they had just witnessed. For the thousands present that night, it was more than a concert, it was a memory etched for life. Many would later recall that the moment Elvis handled the situation with humor and kindness became the highlight of the evening, even more unforgettable than the songs themselves. In that instant, Elvis Presley revealed he was not only the king of rock and roll, but also a man who could touch every heart with simplicity and grace. That story did not end with a single performance. It grew into an enduring anecdote in the history of live entertainment, a lasting testament to Elvis Presley's composure and grace. He was celebrated not only for his legendary voice and timeless songs, but also for the calm humanity he displayed when the unexpected struck. Where many performers might have lost their temper, chosen conflict, or even walked off stage, Elvis chose a smile. He chose humor to dissolve tension, kindness to calm the crowd, and compassion to remind everyone that music is meant to unite, not divide. That very moment gave tens of thousands of witnesses a memory they would never forget. And for the millions who cherished Elvis later, the story stood as a reminder that the king of rock and roll was great not only because of what he sang, but because of how he lived and carried himself before the world. That moment forever became a part of Elvis Presley's legacy, a vivid reminder that the true strength of an artist lies not only in a voice that can move millions, but also in how they face the unexpected trials of the stage. When nearly 20,000 people saw Elvis choose a smile instead of conflict, calmness instead of anger, they realized his greatness was measured not only in music, but in the humanity reflected through his every gesture. That is why, even today, the story is told as an inseparable part of the Elvis Presley legend. It reminds us that sometimes, a simple act, a timely smile, can touch the human heart more deeply than any song ever could. A drunken spectator could have thrown the concert into chaos. But Elvis Presley transformed that moment into eternity. Nearly 20,000 people present that night did not just listen to music, they witnessed the character of a legend. And that is why Elvis will forever remain the king of rock and roll not only for his timeless hits, but for the way he touched the hearts of his audience in the most human moments.